The defendant shall rise. In cause number 22-40863, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of the offense of aggravated assault as charged in the indictment. It is signed by the jury foreperson. Everyone may be seated. We will now proceed to the punishment phase.
Roberto Santana Mears was just found guilty of a second-degree felony. He's facing 2 to 20 years in prison. But as the punishment phase begins, the real motive comes out, and it's as petty as it is violent.
This is how it all started, over at chicken.
5'9", 250 pounds. Mr. Mendez is 5'5" and 130.
The prosecutor demands 20 years. Mears begs for mercy.
Yes, I accept responsibility.
But wait until you see the secret past the prosecutor was hiding until this very moment.
You're a convicted liar, and you're sitting on the stand expecting them to believe your version of the facts? Are you going to do what he asked and give him a life sentence? And then the next time I prosecute him, it's for murder?
What's Wolmer's?
Yes, sir, I do.
Lower your hands. Go ahead.
Okay, Roberto, I obviously know who you are, but tell this jury who you are.
I'm Roberto Santana Mears. I'm 34 years old. I'm a blue-collar worker. I currently was working at a naval base, working on nuclear submarines. I'm involved in the whole refinery. I have 3 beautiful girls, 4-year-old, 14 and 13-year-old. I mean, a little bit about me other than that is, it's hard. Sorry, it's hard for me to explain myself with everything, the way things are going, but all I can say is, I'm not the monster that you guys think I may be. In reality, I'm human, just like y'all. And mistakes were made. Nevertheless, I'm going to be responsible about it. This is why I've been coming here for 3.5 years.
Okay, let's talk about the reason why we're here today and the reason why we had the jury here this week. July 1st of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tell me why you went over to Fernando's house, what took place. Give me some background.
Fernando was a friend of mine. That place was a hangout place for most of us. It was but my intention that day, I went to go greet everybody. I only greeted everybody. They were strangers that I did not know. And I approached Mr. Mendez to talk to him about, he was saying something to other people about me stealing a chicken from him. This is how this all started, over at chicken. I asked him in front of everybody if it was true, if he was telling people that I had stolen chicken from them. He approached me, grabbed me by my shoulder, and I took a step back. And I turned back around, and Mr. Mendez said, raised his hands, and he said, "You want to fight, motherfucker?" And he opened his truck door and went to reach for something. And that's when I pulled him out of the vehicle, threw him on the ground, got on top of his ribs with my knees, and proceeded to hit him 4 to 5 times. When the mother of my kids, Monica, walked up and stopped me from doing it.
So whenever we're talking about that bond violation, there was an allegation that you had potentially swung at Mr. Mendez. Did you swing at him?
No. What ended up happening was I walked out, and just very, very upset when I saw the fact that this is the man that had been making my life a little bit more miserable. I actually took a stand when I got charged, well, they were trying to charge me with retaliation on that day. They assumed or thought that he allegedly said that I went to swing on him. I walked back in, and I expressed myself in words. They weren't the nicest ones, and I got to the point that I called him, he was trash of a human for making me go through it, and because of the lies, and I spat at the floor at him. I walked back out of there, and
okay, and then your bond was revoked with that.
Yes, ma'am.
And then since then, you've obviously made another bond.
I had to pay again to get out, and I got a GPS monitor on.
If you could go back to that day and change it, would you?
1,000,000 times over. I probably would have never even walked over there knowing that this was going to happen. People be involved with the change of life, everything. I regret it. I regret going over there, even mentioning over at chicken. You know, I regretted escalating to what it did happen. I thought we were friends, so I greeted everybody. But yes, I regret to this day going over it. I wish a million times it didn't happen. Every day I beat myself up over this mentally.
And are you remorseful for the injuries that Mr. Mendez has sustained?
More than anything, I'm remorseful that it caused so much pain and dilemma in his life, and it made him change the man who he was. Meaning, he won't ever be the same man again. He won't ever try to pull a weapon out or per se, you know. There was no more friendship, and he's the reason why I live where I live. He brought me there.
So he was one of your important friends.
He was a close friend of mine. The fact that he would look at me, you know, I'm going to say hurt my feelings, hurt my pride as a man, that the man that brought me over there all of a sudden is calling the police on me and telling the world all these lies. And the only factual stuff that happened, like revolved, and he was hurt.
Do you accept responsibility for what you have been found guilty of? And
Yes, I accept responsibility. One thing, I've been on the stand before on my bond revocation, and I said I've been coming here for 3.5 years because I was ready to deal with this regardless of the outcome. It's going to hurt my family, but I'm ready to take responsibility over this, get this over with and move on in my life. I deeply regret hurting Mr. Mendez to the fact that he did what he did and said what he said, and here we are. You know?
past witness, Judge.
So let's start with that last statement. You say you accept responsibility.
Yes, sir, I accept responsibility.
You admit now before this jury that you're guilty of aggravated assault, serious bodily injury against Eduardo Mendez.
I admit that I assaulted the man.
Answer the question.
Right. See, even the judge catches that. Either you're going to admit that the guilty verdict that they gave is correct, or you're going to continue down the path where you say, it wasn't really my fault. This is all these reasons.
No, it's not about not being my fault. I'm responsible for it. Yeah.
All right. So then let's back up. What are you trying to tell this jury then about the conduct of Mr. Mendez, about supposedly this question about some other guy pushing you, he reached for a gun, all that stuff. Where's that supposed to go?
Where's that supposed to go?
You just told this jury that Mr. Mendez went to get a gun, a weapon, something like that.
Correct.
You grabbed him, you put him on the ground, and you beat him up.
I struck him several times, yes.
Right. You had your knees on his chest.
Correct.
And you hit him 4 or 5 times is what you said.
Correct.
Are you blaming him for reaching for something as to why you did that? Or are you accepting the fact that you beat this man?
No, I'm accepting the fact that I beat him.
All right. So all this stuff you just told this jury about what he did, they can forget about that, right? Because you're responsible, not him.
Correct. They can do it. They can do it as they wish. I'm just stating the facts of how everything's occurred. I was asked a question. I gave an answer.
So help me to understand then.
Yes, sir.
Why would you offer that testimony, sir, if we're all supposed to believe you and you're accepting this responsibility? Why would we hear what Mr. Mendez did? Because it sounded to me like you're blaming the man for the beating that you gave him.
I'm not blaming the board. I'm taking responsibility for it.
Then why did you offer that information?
Because I wanted to say it.
You wanted to say it.
About my chest, how things occur.
So that begs the question, you had a right to testify in the guilt innocence. You chose not to.
Correct.
Why?
I thought my defense did a great job, and I was letting it take its course.
But you just said you wanted them to know this.
Correct.
Why didn't you do it in the initial stage?
It's my mistake. I should have done better.
Sir, it's always your election, but just like you've chosen to testify right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to understand why. And if I'm asking, I know they're asking.
You want to know why I'm testifying now?
Yeah, why didn't you tell them what you just said? Why didn't you tell them that before they decided guilt?
I didn't do it, like I said, I'm going to repeat myself because I felt my defense team was doing a good job.
So you were just relying, you thought they were going to win the day?
Not necessarily win the day. I think they were going to prove a point.
You were hoping to walk out the door not guilty.
I was hoping to have a lesser crime, an assault.
All right, so let's put this all in perspective for the jury. This is you, Roberto Santana Mears.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir? Correct. Let's be clear about it. You have testified before, and I've actually gone over this with you in that bond hearing that we talked about before.
Correct.
I was the one that talked with you. You are this man. You are the individual that lied under oath in the acquisition of firearms. That's what this charge is.
Correct.
So you're a convicted liar, and you're sitting on the stand expecting them to believe your version of the facts?
Oh, yes.
Yes or no?
Yes. It's a yes or no question. Yes.
You expect them to believe you, even though you're a convicted liar.
I was convicted of a crime of buying and selling a gun. It's a false statement, acquisition of.
Lying is lying, sir.
Correct.
You were convicted of lying under oath.
Checking the wrong box. Correct.
So you're minimizing that by saying it's just checking a box?
No, sir. I'm not minimizing it. I took responsibility for it.
Well, didn't you just minimize it just then by saying that I'm checking a box?
No, I'm not trying to minimize it.
All right, so
Your statement, like I said,
you are a convicted liar.
I'm a convicted federal felon.
Was that, in fact, an accusation that you assaulted your girlfriend by the name of Sasha Block?
Yes, sir. Yes.
In fact, that allegation was that you strangled her.
Correct.
And that was all supposed to have happened on March 27th of 2020. Right?
I supposedly yes.
Right. And you remember when Mr. Mendez was on the stand and he said that you were in jail? Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
That he was referencing when you got arrested and you were in jail for violating your supervised release.
Yeah, they held me in custody for 3 months.
All right, so the actual legal grounds that are stated in the record is that there was a missing complainant witness. That means that in assault family violence, the lady that you choked was too scared to come forward.
Allegedly.
So none of that ever happened.
No, it didn't happen.
All right.
People lie all the time.
People lie all the time, don't they? Sometimes they even lie under oath and they're caught and they go to federal prison.
Correct.
You were told that you could not violate your bond conditions, that you could not be around Mr. Mendez, and you admitted under an oath with a hearing with this judge in September of 2025 that you did have that contact, and that you got so mad that you were in fact spitting mad. True or not, sir?
Correct.
And that resulted in this judge making a finding, determining that your bond needed to be revoked and doubled, and he placed what's called a GPS device on it. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
You wearing it?
Yes, sir.
Show them.
Underneath my booth right here.
Are you going to admit that you got thrown out of the courtroom because of the confrontation that you had with Langston Adams that happened right here about where the ladies are seated, because you were so disruptive that we had to throw you out of the courtroom?
I made a comment. I was sitting here waiting for my docket, and I was told I was allowed to step outside.
Do you remember having the confrontation with that attorney?
I didn't have a conversation with no attorney.
Do you remember that bailiff right there asking you to be removed from here because of your conduct?
I remember that. I remember.
And that you're not going to admit today that that was behind your temper? And what was
it was a comment that I said.
All right. What'd you say?
I don't even recall. That's how long it's been. But I remember I was told to step outside, and I did.
You got mad at the lawyer going back and forth in front of you without saying something?
I don't recall it being that.
Do you have a temper problem, sir?
I was thinking probably.
No temper problem at all. Hey, let's look at it this way. Does your wife know you had a girlfriend back in 2020? Does that lady know about it?
Actually, I think she's aware of it.
I don't know about you, sir. But being unfaithful to someone you're married is another form of lying. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I was never unfaithful.
So when this lady,
But I agree it's a form of lying.
so this lady that was the victim on that charge, Miss Sasha Block, you admit or deny she was your girlfriend in the middle of your marriage?
But no, first of all, I've never been married. And when I had that girlfriend, I hadn't met my kids.
All right. So when we've referred to the lady sitting in the courtroom as your wife, she's not your wife?
Common household wife, they call her a common wife.
5'9", 250 pounds. And you remember Mr. Mendez saying he is 5'5" and 130, right?
Correct.
You did this to Mr. Mendez, State's Exhibit 2. Yes or no?
Yes.
You did all these knots on his forehead in State's Exhibit 3.
Yes, sir.
All behind the chin, State's Exhibit 4.
I'm not necessarily all behind the chicken, how the things occurred. I wouldn't want to simplify or minimize, like you said, about why it happened. More likely how it transpired.
You're responsible for this damage?
Whereas my intentions were never to actually hurt him that way.
Are you responsible?
I'm responsible.
So you can face anywhere from 2 to 20 years for the damage that you did to this man?
Yes, sir.
What do you think is fair when you do this to somebody like that? What do you think is appropriate?
I don't know what is to be fair when someone does that to an individual. But if you're asking me personally,
I'm giving you a golden opportunity to tell them what you think is fair.
I obviously would want the lesser charge. I was hoping for a lesser charge, a simple assault, and it didn't come back that way. So now that it's at an aggravated with bodily injury, I think the minimum is 2 and the maximum is 20. I would hope for the minimum.
So when a 5'9", 250 pound man does that to someone who's basically half his body size, you think he should get the minimum? Right, but your final words with your lawyer was you accept responsibility.
I accept responsibility. Here I am.
This man is a bully. I'm having flashbacks to my high school days about having to deal with people like that constantly try to push you around and try to get what they want. That's what he has done. That's what he attempted to do just a few minutes ago. A bully. He actually tried to justify the fact that he had an outside relationship because he's not married to this lady. Oh my gosh. He tried to justify this conviction because, he was just young, right? He tried to justify how he could put his hands around some lady and strangle her. And I sat here and I watched Mr. Mendez, and he wouldn't look over there. Don't remember? He couldn't make eye contact, and I finally picked up on it, and I watched him, and he would only look over there if he had to, because that man beat him, and he's lucky he's alive. He's lucky he's alive. We had to check to see, was he hemorrhaging in his head? What about that poor lady that he strangled? What's it going to take? Aggravated assault, the crime itself, is heartbeats away from a murder. What's it going to take? Are you going to do what he asked and give him a life sentence? And then the next time I prosecute him, it's for murder? Because there will be a next time. I have seen nor heard one shred of evidence to believe otherwise. He's only looking at 2 to 20. I think you should give him 20 years. And I know that's harsh. But I'm responsible for standing here and trying to protect those that cannot protect themselves.
The defendant shall rise. In cause number 22-40863, in the state of Texas versus Roberto Santana Mears, We, the jury, assess the defendant's punishment at confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for a term of 5 years. Signed by the jury foreperson, received, made a part of the records for all purposes, and you may be seated.